call our public hearing to order at this time. Our first item under public hearing tonight is for ordinance number 2025-07. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-07 be it ordained by the Mayor and Council for the City of Fort Oglethorpe, a zoning amendment ordinance for tax parcel number 0013A01800A, an unaddressed parcel of property located on Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742, requested by the owner Daniel Sale to rezone said property from a C2 zoning to a PM zoning, to amend the official zoning map for the City of Fort Oglethorpe, to repeal conflicting ordinances and other related purposes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of the ordinance number 2025-07? Yeah, go. If you would, go to the podium, state your full name, and spell your last name for us.
All right. Good evening. Oh, excuse me. First, I'm Josh Thomason, Thomason.
Thank you, sir.
With Piedmont Housing Group. We're developers. We develop apartments. Over 95% of our apartments are strictly for seniors, some of them for age 55 and older, and some restricted to age 62 and older. This particular development will be for people age 62 and older. No one under that age will be allowed to reside there. It is a senior independent living, so we will not provide any type of ambulatory services or medical services or meal services on our site for our residents. It's strictly for folks who are 62 and older who can live an independent life. It'll be a 48-unit development. All the units will be located in one building that'll be access controlled, and that building will be fully enclosed with interior corridors that are conditioned. And the second and third floors, it's a 3-story building. The second and third floors will be served by an elevator. Some of our amenities at the property will include a business center with computers, printers, scanners, a fitness center with age-appropriate exercise equipment. Then we also just have large gathering areas in general for our residents to hang out in. And then we offer some services like, potluck dinners, holiday parties, bingo nights, all those things that you think that you would see at a independent senior living facility. We provide those. As far as the physical attributes of our property, all the exterior of the property will be either brick or hardy plank or hardy shake siding. No aluminum or vinyl siding will be used. Again, even though it's age restricted, we run it like a normal apartment community, except for the age restriction. So, we don't receive funds, Medicare, Medicaid funds. Our residents pay rent just like everyone else. All the units will be made up of 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. The mix right now is 10 1-bedroom and 38 2-bedroom apartments. And then one last amenity I left out, we do have all our units will have washer and dryer connections in them to the extent that our residents have those. They can bring them with them, but we also have a central laundry facility for our residents' use. And as far as the age restriction, I know in a lot of municipalities that's important. If someone comes in and says they're going to build senior living, to make sure of that. We have to place a deed on the property for 62 and older so that no one under 62 can live there. And if Mayor and Council would like, we can make that a condition to the zoning. I know it's a PD zoning, so it does allow for some things that are in addition to the normal ordinance to apply, and we'd certainly welcome that if that's something that council would consider. I'll answer any questions y'all have.
Any questions?
What about the rent? Do you know about what the rent would be per month?
Right now, we are targeting, depending on the type of unit and a couple of other factors, anywhere between $675 to up to 800.
So, help me understand how the process works for the 62 and older. So, everybody in the unit is 62 and older?
That's correct, everyone. So if you're 62, so let's say a husband, say a husband is 62 and the wife is 61, they'd have to wait until she turns 62 to move in.
Okay, interesting. And no,
What is-
no grandkids or anything like that? Is
No,
that what you're saying?
that's correct.
Okay.
What is the restriction on people younger than 62 staying there with a 62-year-old leasee?
So if it gets a little convoluted, but in general, obviously we want to still allow a grandkid to come over and spend the night. So we put restrictions on the number of consecutive nights. I think it's no more than 2 or 3 in a 62 and older, and then no more than a certain amount of days in a 30-day span. So that would keep our residents from kind of slipping past the system, moving in at 62, and then having a grandchild move in. And we keep tabs on that as well. We have a full-time property manager or managers and maintenance technicians on site. They're constantly on the lookout for that, and you're not allowed to live there unless you're on the lease. And once you become not a visitor, you become a resident, and then if you're a resident and you're not on the lease, the tenant would be asked to leave. So we handle that with our property management, but our residents handle that as well because they're moving to a 62 and older facility for a reason. Part of that, one of those many reasons, is they don't necessarily want to be around a bunch of kids all the time. And then just a secondary reason, obviously, if someone would want to live in an independent living facility is they may be living somewhere right now and can't take care of the place that they have, but still want to live in a nice place at an affordable price, and that's our market.
Are utilities included? Any type of utilities included?
Just trash.
These are leased premises. They're not deeded premises. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we'll own it in a partnership, and we'll be on the deed, and then we will rent them out just like in a normal apartment, except it has the age restriction on it.
That existing detention pond, is that going to be adequate?
I don't think so, because I think we'd have to disturb too much of the wetlands. So I think to the extent that we can't really get in there on that, we'll have to utilize probably an underground detention system there, to the extent that we can't fully fit in. Pardon me, just 1 second while I try to get the site plan back up. So to the extent that we can get there without disturbing too much of the wetlands, we will utilize it as much for water runoff as we can. And to the extent that that isn't enough to get through EPD guidelines and any county or city ordinances, then we'll end up with some underground detention that may allow for a slower disbursement of the stormwater.
You haven't got a whole lot of place to disperse it.
No, there's not very much at all there. I'm in agreement with you. So I do anticipate a lot of the storm drainage. I mean, granted, it's a 10-acre parcel, but we're not disturbing that much of it, and we won't have that much impervious surface there. But obviously, we're going to increase impervious surface because right now it's 0. So we may be.
So you're saying it'd be like a holding tank, and then it would release slowly into that same detention pond?
That's correct.
Yeah.
We just can't increase the flow that goes into that pond now from what it currently is today.
Right.
On your particular site information, it shows retail under construction and undeveloped. Is that a part of the 10 acres that you're owning, or are you getting an easement across that?
There's an existing easement that runs in between, next to where the auto shop's being built right now, that applies to this land.
Okay.
But yes, that is not part of it. The only thing that's part of the 10 acres is what you see colored on the site plan. The rest of the stuff's just for general locational information.
Thank you, sir.
But it's going to be the same for anything.
Anyone else have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Does anyone else like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of ordinance number 2025-07? Mayor, doesn't appear anyone's present.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Item number 2 in our public hearing tonight is for ordinance number 2025-08. Mr. Stoltz.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-08, be it ordained by the mayor and council for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, a Lafayette Road Overlay District Design Review for exterior rehabilitation and modifications of existing structures located at 2526 Lafayette Road, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, 30742, tax parcel number 0003A094, requested by the applicant, Raffort LLC, to approve design rehabilitation and modifications proposed by applicant and other related purposes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of ordinance number 2025-08?
Mr. City Attorney, I'd like to speak in favor of.
All right, go right ahead.
My name is Bill Tyndall. My last name is spelled Tindell. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you tonight, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. I own a company called Tyndall Marketing. One of the items that is our business model is we are project managers. Amico, the national brand, the Amico distributor for this location, and the property owner has asked me to project manage taking their unbranded retail fuel site to an Amico branded site. So in the past couple of months, we've been working with planning and zoning to make sure that we're following the ordinances and listening to the guidance of the Planning and Zoning Committee personnel to present you with renderings of what this will look like following the guidance of the Planning and Zoning. A couple of hurdles for us was that the signage could not be above the canopy fascia, that any signage had to be exteriorly illuminated and not interiorly illuminated. We're only dealing with the canopy poles, painting the islands, and re-imaging the dispensers where you buy your gasoline from. We're not adding any monument signs to the location or doing any other improvements to the building. And I'm here tonight to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for the gentleman? I got one that you are aware about the neon signs. Neon signs lighting the windows and the, or is that not part of what you do?
That's not any of our scope of work. The areas on top of the building or face of the building's not changing. And I don't, are we good?
Yeah.
We're good.
The scope of the work is the same.
Do you have the renderings?
Yes, yes, sir.
Mine's in color. Is yours in color or black and white?
It's in color.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's a good time.
This is what you're talking about, sir.
Yes, ma'am. 7 pages of renderings.
Very neat and clean. So everything's going to be the red, white, and blue.
Color scheme. Yes, ma'am. Decor.
I like that. Thank you.
I don't have any questions.
Me either. I live up behind there in that subdivision, so I look forward to seeing these changes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
May I ask a question before I step away?
Sure.
Certainly.
Will this be voted on tonight? Or will
No,
it be-
sir, to be voted on at our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is
The 24th of
24th.
February.
Should I plan on attending that meeting?
You certainly welcome to, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 3.
Well, let me make sure there's nobody else.
Oh, yeah, you did. I asked, but you didn't, did you?
I did. Is there anyone else that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of ordinance number 2025-08? Mayor, doesn't appear anyone's present.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Item number 3 is public hearing for ordinance number 2025-08. Mr. Stoltz.
Thank you. 09?
Yes, sir, 09. I'm sorry, I didn't put my glasses on.
It's all right. Ordinance number 2025-09, be it ordained by the mayor and council for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, a zoning amendment ordinance for tax parcel number 0011B25500A, 350 Cobb Parkway, Ringgold, Georgia 30736, requested by the owners, and Thomas L. Abernathy as applicant to rezone said property from a C2 zoning to a C2 special exception zoning, to amend the official zoning map for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, to repeal conflicting ordinances and other related purposes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of ordinance number 2025-09? Go right up to the podium, sir. First name, last name, and spell your last name.
Thomas L. Abernathy. Tom Abernathy is what folks call me. A-B-E-R-N-A-T-H-Y.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for hearing us. This is the former Cabela's building over on Cobb, and we have to navigate through a number of restricted uses on that building, both with Costco and with Cabela's. And we've had multiple tenants that want to be there but did not meet those restricted requirements. But now we have a wonderful use coming out of Chattanooga, which is a conference center, exhibit hall, and museum, which would be very dynamic. I actually have the tenant rep here that will do a presentation. I am having positive dialogue with Costco regarding this use. It is not a restricted use in our opinion or our attorney's opinion, but still we're going to, out of an abundance of caution, we're going to confirm that with Costco. And there's been some things on the social media discussing that, which I'm not happy about, but it's there, so that's why I don't like social media a whole lot, but it is what it is. So we're going to get Tripp up here, if he will, to come up and speak on behalf of the vision and the plan for the building.
Sir, if you would state your full name when you go to the podium.
So my name is John Thurston. The last name is Thurston, like Thurston Howell III. And being a third, most people just call me Tripp. I appreciate that people actually got my reference. So a little bit of background, and I'll project. I'm not great at standing behind mics, but so the Motion Museum is an idea behind Firecrown, and we're a media company, so I brought just some examples of some of the magazines that we produce. We have an ESPN show. Oddly enough, it's all now out of Chattanooga. These are things that we have acquired over the last several years.
Thank you very much.
I'll do my best to stay put. Those decks are going to feel thick. I promise this is very brief. It's just Angela did a great job at Village Print Shop of talking me into the expensive paper.
We love it.
Very nice, very nice.
Yes. She even said that if we did the mat on the back, you'd be able to ride on it. So. She was ecstatic to see me come back. So the Motion Museum is an idea to bring all of this to life. My oldest is here, but when I ask him at the end of the day, what was the best part of school? Sometimes it's recess, sometimes it's lunch. It's never been reading the textbook. STEM class often hits, and this is in sort of that vein of bringing to life everything that we see in the textbooks, everything that we see in the magazines. We have approximately 16 to 17 million people who check out our print magazines and our online content on a monthly basis. Some of them actually will end up showing up to our offices, decked out, conductor gear, ready to go. And then we have to remind them that we don't actually have model railway trains for them to play with at our office. But we will here. And the reason why we think this fits really well in Fort Oglethorpe is that this area is, microphone. This area is not only the cultural, but it's also the logistical center point of the area. Everything from FedEx in Memphis all the way to the Savannah port, everything we see going on in Atlanta, all the way up to the Fuller's, Covenant Logistics, and U.S. Express, and it's right here. And so we think that the Motion Museum belongs here. The waterways, the highways, the byways, and even the busiest airport happens to be in this state. I was born in this state, so don't hold that against the state, but there's just a lot of great things. So our plan here is this is not an attempt to create, you know, a pigeon forge building where we flip it upside down or have an 80-foot shark head sticking out of it. As you can see as you flip through, essentially all on the outside that we're talking about doing is repainting the roof. And this picture is from a train station that's in Aiken, South Carolina. And so it just repaints the roof and then lightens up the trim to make it feel less like a cabin. The building has great values. It's a fantastic property, a great property. We just want to tone down the cabin and sort of tone up the train side of it. Inside, there will be a layout that takes you through several pieces. The Monday before Christmas, we went up to Cincinnati and ended up acquiring the world's largest model railroad setup. The gentleman had made some money in the spa business, had retired. The Garden Society of Model Railroaders up there had talked him into buying a building and building this facility. And so he had ran it for over a decade, but was ready to be done. And there was a guy that offered to buy the building, and he was going to just disassemble the whole thing. And we said, no, don't do that. We have avid readers in this space. A significant portion of our subscription income revenues are actually based out of the model railroading side. And so we'd love to bring this to Chattanooga, to this area, to Fort Oglethorpe, and have the world's largest railroad track. So that's what, when you see the great layout, that's what that is. It took up about the actual setup is about 25,000 square feet. It took up most of the room in an 80,000 square foot building. So we're reconfiguring and changing that. But that would be that space. If you walked into the Cabela's, the back right was where they had sort of their clearance room. Right behind there, if you knock through that wall, you'll see where they have a steel mezzanine. And so that's where we want to bring.
You're talking about this right here?
Oh, yeah, so those are pictures of, this layout is Entertainment Junction. So this is what we saw in Cincinnati. And these pictures are pictures that I took of the Cincinnati setup. Yes, sir. And you can see everything from just the tiniest detail. I appreciated the Rock City, so I included that. But the journey at Entertainment Junction took you from very primitive America all the way through modern day. Being Atlanta born, I appreciated the Fox Theater being there.
So they had the Rock City on there?
They did.
Up in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And if you ever go to the Choo Choo, you'll notice it says the Cincinnati Southern. And Cincinnati actually owns, I learned this, the municipality actually owns the railway. And so they're in control of getting from Chattanooga to Cincinnati. Because what we wanted them to do, we thought it'd be really cool to load up the train on an actual locomotive and have them bring it down that roadway straight to the Choo Choo. Now we'd have to offload it then and then bring it here. But we haven't gotten that far down there. We ended up, it took about 12 or 13 tractor loads to get it all down here. So we didn't do the train route, but we got it here.
Holy cow.
So what we want to do is take the Savannah port and create a Savannah port inside the building. because it is a great representation of everything that we do, from trains to logistics. We own FreightWaves Media, which is sort of it's known as the Bloomberg of freight. So we give high frequency data on everything that's going on in the durable economy. So the Savannah Port is sort of our happy place, if you will, when it comes to an example of what we dive into. So yes, that's what those pictures are from. The mezzanine would be our RC Racing. We're in the process of acquiring several brands in that space, so we would look to take our presence in the marine space, which boating, yachting, sailing, all of that, and move it to where you could actually race sailboats or race cars, having a crawling space. If you're like me, I spend more time with my truck off-road than I do on a fancy yacht or sailboat. Never actually been on one, but that would be nice. So that would be the RC spot. The planetarium, it's a third-party product made by Full Dome. And you can see sort of the first picture, the exterior has what looks to be a lunar landscape. You can actually paint that, or not paint it, you design it and they print it on there. So you can see on the next page, for those of you in media business, you may appreciate this, but Coca-Cola designed it as a soccer ball. And it was a great branding. In our case, it'll either map out to Mars or maybe one of the moons. We're still working on exactly what we want on the outside, but it'll hold. The one we're looking at holds about 50 people sitting or about 100 people standing, which 100 people standing is roughly one grade at an elementary school. So the other pictures are more examples of how it's been used, but you can walk in, sit down, and we can take you on a space exploration, because one of the titles, I think I said, oh yeah, I said up there, is Astronomy Magazine. So, and with everything happening with SpaceX and everything that we see, we want young adults and really anybody else who's interested to dive into space exploration, because they may be the next people or the first people that live on Mars. Who knows? So, last couple parts of the building. One of the things we acquired was this Thomas the Train Ride. Yeah. So for those who have been to the zoo, it's about the same size as the one that goes through the zoo. And so we're excited about that. It also, they had this play area where it was basically just a chance for the kids to let out some steam. It was strategically put about halfway through the building. So right about the time where the parents were like, man, this is really great. And the kids are starting to just tug it there and be like, yeah, that gives them a chance to really dive in and have some fun and enjoy the play set. And then, like any good location, you exit through the gift shop.
Oh yeah.
So we'd exit through the gift shop. So quick numbers. About 40% of Entertainment Junction's revenue was coming through ticket sales. The gentleman, as I mentioned, he had made his money in the spa business. He had retired into doing this, and this really was more of a give back. There wasn't a big marketing campaign or big social media push, and we think that we can bring a lot of that. Plus, we're going to be beyond trains, right? So we have the planetarium, we have the RC racing, and all those sort of things. So we think that with everything that Fort Oglethorpe has to offer, our proximity to Atlanta, the number of schools, I mean, there's over 10,000 kids in Catoosa County alone. There's 40,000 in Hamilton County. There's over 40,000 in Cherokee County. And I know with that one, I will be going to Cartersville for the second time in a year for a field trip, and I would much rather be going to a field trip here. So we think that we can very easily hit about 1 million patrons in a given year. And so the numbers sort of go on from there. And so we estimated about 10%. When we looked at their numbers, it was about 10% for the cafe and about 15% for the gift shop. And then, so we have sort of estimated prices of where that would lay out. That does not include our event space which I haven't touched on much, but we run the Future of Freight Festival. We run the Helly Hansen Regatta Series down in Florida. We have Trawler Fest up in New England. We've been building a business that is not just print media, but it's also experiences and events and those sort of things. And what we want to do is have more and more of those here and utilize this space because it'll be an amazing space. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Well, I'm a teacher, so I'm extremely excited about this. Let me ask, I love edutainment is a big thing for me. The education while keeping children engaged, entertainment. Do you have a curriculum that goes with Georgia Performance Standards for, say, homeschool, public school at different grade levels?
So we're not that far along yet. So we're building a lot of that out. John Bose is actually the individual in our office who has been tasked with that. And so he's trying to take a lot of the historical and educational principles from Cincinnati, where we've acquired the physical assets, and adapt them to make them applicable here.
Okay, excellent. I look forward to seeing those.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Your admission, I noticed you got $20 on here. Is there a children admission?
There would be, yes, sir. And field trips and that sort of thing. Those would be different.
And what might they be?
That is a great question. I don't know. I know from personal example, when I go on field trips with him, it's roughly half of what the normal admission would be. But I don't have that answer right now.
Would discount for field trips from schools? Or?
Yes, sir. So Craig is one of 4 in the family, I think, but he himself has 5 kids. So he spends a lot of time going to museums and entertainment venues and that sort of thing. And his youngest aren't even in grade school yet. So this is a heart passion for him.
So basically, you got 2 parents and a child, so $50 just to get in the door.
Sounds right, yes, sir. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what your average sales are in the gift shop?
So they were about $15 when we looked at what Cincinnati was doing.
What was that annually?
So they had 10% of their revenue 15% of their revenue coming from there. It was about 143,000, if I remember off the top of my head. And we expect to have about 10 times the patrons that they had.
Are you going to partner with any other organizations around? A lot of organizations around here will offer scholarships for certain children, and they offer a senior and a veteran discount for admission.
Yes, thank you for asking. So one of the groups we've already been talking to is the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. Mm-hmm. We were really hoping that there would be a railroad track that connected to the building, but we'll deal with that separately. But yes, so we have been reaching out, the Creative Discovery Museum, the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, and a few others that we've begun to talk to. It's been moving very, very quick. As I mentioned, I didn't even know about it as of December 22nd, and we owned it as of January 5th. So it's been a fast month and a half.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm excited about it. Thank you.
When do you, let's say all this moves forward, what's the time frame, you think, for the project?
Yeah, so the great part about the Cabela's building is that it's fairly turnkey. And so Mr. Abernathy's been very kind to already have HVAC and electrical contractors go by and inspect the building, make sure, because it's been a while, right? It's been vacant for a while. We had a painting contractor out there on Friday going ahead and getting, so we were aiming to be open by October.
Okay.
Part of the longest part of it is you actually, when it comes to those model train setups, you actually have to build it up because underneath it is where all the wiring goes. And we had the opportunity in Cincinnati to go up under and sort of see the inner workings of it. I didn't include any of those pictures in here, but so building all those really intricate connections and all that is the longest time period.
Do you have any idea when you'll have everything worked out with Costco, that they'll have an amen to your plan, all those avenues?
They were calling me, we're sitting here, my phone's back here, but I saw it on my watch, so
Okay.
soon.
We'd be interested in knowing, I'm sure, when everything has been stamped. Okay.
So are you gonna have like the model trains and the cars and those things for sale in that gift shop to tie in with that?
Yes, sir.
Did you go with them whenever they took it all down?
No.
Cincinnati?
No, so my role's a little different, and just for the family. But I got to go up to see it, but I was not. They spent about 2.5 weeks up there taking it apart. Because you can't just take it apart. You have to very carefully take each piece.
I bet. I can't imagine.
Intricate.
I remember when he tweeted about that, and then Craig.
Okay.
And then he flew up there like the next day or something like that with his kid.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
That was crazy, man.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition of ordinance number 2025-09?
Should ask that guy to say a word when it comes to that.
Mayor, it doesn't appear anyone else is present.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. That does conclude our public hearing
Wait, I'm
tonight.
excited.
This time we'll call our regularly scheduled council meeting to order. Mr. Stoltz, if you would, please call the roll.
Yes. Mayor Earl Gray,
Here.
Councilman Jim Childs, Councilman Craig Crawford,
Here.
Councilman Derek Rogers,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhonda James,
Here.
Council Lady Paula Stinnett,
Here.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. The record show we do have a quorum present for tonight's meeting. This time we do our invocation and our pledge. Mr. Rogers, if you would, please do the invocation. Mr. Crawford, lead us with the pledge, please.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all you've done for us, Lord. Thank you for our citizens. Thank you for our city. Thank you for our country. Pray that you would give us a productive meeting tonight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll set the agenda for tonight's meeting. Ms. Hume, do you have any modifications?
No, Mr. Mayor, I do not.
Thank you, Ms. Hume. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. James and second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is set. Next item is the minutes from our previous council meeting. If members of council have had an opportunity to review the minutes from our January 27th meeting, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Crawford, second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item is ordinances. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2025-07. Ms. Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-07, be it ordained by the mayor and council for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, a zoning amendment ordinance for tax parcel number 0013A01800A, an unaddressed parcel of property, Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, 30742, requested by the owner, Daniel Sale, to rezone said property from a C2 zoning to a PM zoning, to amend the official zoning map for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, to repeal conflicting ordinances and other related purposes. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 2, first reading of ordinance number 2025-08. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-08, be it ordained by the mayor and council for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, a Lafayette Road Overlay District Design Review for exterior rehabilitation and modifications of existing structures located at 2526 Lafayette Road, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742, tax parcel number 003A094, requested by the applicant Rathfort LLC to approve design rehabilitation and modifications proposed by the applicant and other related purposes. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Item number 3, first reading of ordinance number 2025-09. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2025-09, be it ordained by the mayor and council for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, a zoning amendment ordinance for tax parcel number 0011B 25500A 350 Cobb Parkway, Ringgold, Georgia 30736, requested by the owners, and Thomas L. Abernathy as applicant to rezone said property from a C2 zoning to a C2 special exception zoning, to amend the official zoning map for the city of Fort Oglethorpe, to repeal conflicting ordinances and other related purposes. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Next item on the agenda is new business. Item number 1, recommendation to procure 4 2025 Chevrolet Tahoes with police package and to declare as surplus 4 units currently in service. Ms. Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In the 2025 budget, the purchase of additional police vehicles, patrol vehicles, was included to replace some damaged and some aging units in the department's fleet. All 4 vehicles at issue tonight will be assigned to the patrol division. Pricing under state contracts in both Georgia and Tennessee were pursued for the purchase of these vehicles, and the Tennessee contract holder had a lower per unit contract price of $52,847 per vehicle. If approved and once the new units are received, the damaged and aging units, those 4 will be made available for sale pursuant to the city's procedures for disposal of surplus property. The 4 units to be declared surplus are 4 2014 Ford Explorers. As each unit is sold, the funds will be deposited into the general fund and the units will be removed from the city's insurance policy and asset ledger. If this is approved, the purchase would be in the total amount of $211,388 from Wilson County Motors, and it would be coming out of the SPLOST fund.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I have a motion to approve.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stinnett, second by Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2, recommendation to award an annual contract for geographical information system software services. Ms. Hughes.
Thank you. The Environmental Systems Research Institute, or ESRI, owns and maintains our ArcGIS software system, which is used nationwide by local jurisdictions to map services such as water and wastewater lines, zoning classifications, roads, storm drains, and things of that nature. Through its membership with ESRI, the city has access to this system, and in order to maintain that accurate information within the ArcGIS system, the system needs to be updated from time to time, anytime there's a change with zoning, wastewater connection points, roads, storm drains, and things like that. Because of the technical and secure nature of the system, it's critical to have skilled and knowledgeable GIS engineers to accurately update that system. The city has previously engaged ESG Engineering, doing business as, ESG is the engineering is the name they're doing business as. It's actually Inframark LLC. They've been bought in the last year. We've been using them on an as-needed basis, but it's more cost-effective for us to have an annual contract. So an annual contract for this amount would be in the total yearly amount of $25,000 coming out of the water and sewer fund, in the amount of $12,500, and the general fund for that remaining $12,500, split between the Economic Development Department and the Public Works Department. If approved, with the contract in place, the city will also have the capability to provide access to certain information on its website, such as availability of wastewater, voting precincts, and utility providers in a given area.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. James, second by Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda, city manager's report. Ms. Hughes.
Thank you. First, happy Valentine's Day to everybody watching and to everybody here. And also, the city will be closed Monday, February 17th in observance of President's Day. The city will pick up brush. The following day, you'll just be a day delayed, but we will get to you within the same week. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Hugh. Next item, mayor and council comments. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and you guys don't forget to get her something or you'll be in the doghouse. Mr. Crawford.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rogers.
Nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. James.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Stinney.
Yes, sir. I'd like to remind everybody that the first Veteran and Citizen Council meeting will be held this Thursday, 4 p.m. right here. Hope to see you here. Back to you, sir.
Next item on the agenda is adjournment.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Crawford, second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.